When installing a panel board or load center in relation to a transformer, several spacing requirements must be considered. These requirements are primarily dictated by safety standards, manufacturer specifications, and the National Electrical Code or NEC, as well as local building codes. Understanding these requirements is crucial for ensuring a safe and compliant electrical installation. Firstly, the 10-foot rule is a general guideline that suggests maintaining a minimum of 10 feet between the transformer and the panel board or load center. This rule is not always explicitly stated in the NEC but often serves as a practical guideline to ensure sufficient working space and to minimize potential hazards. Secondly, panel clearance is critical for safe access and maintenance. The manufacturer's specifications for the panel board will outline the minimum clearance requirements. Typically, you'll find the following dimensions specified: 30 inches in front of the panel. This clearance allows electricians to safely access the panel for maintenance, repairs, and troubleshooting. 18 inches on each side of the panel. This side clearance provides adequate space for working on the panel from either side. 6 inches behind the panel. Although access behind the panel is less frequent, some space is needed for cable management and ventilation. Thirdly, transformer clearance is essential for proper operation and maintenance of the transformer. The manufacturer's instructions for the specific transformer model will detail the required clearances. Common requirements include 3 feet in front for servicing. This front clearance ensures enough space for technicians to perform maintenance tasks and inspections. 18 inches on all other sides. This clearance around the other sides of the transformer allows for adequate ventilation and access for inspections. To ensure compliance with all these requirements, you must identify the dimension that is the greatest among the different rules. Let's consider an example. 1. The 10-foot rule, which equals 10 feet. 2. Panel clearance in front, which equals 30 inches. 3. Transformer clearance in front, which equals 3 feet. In this scenario, 10 feet is the greatest dimension. Therefore, the minimum spacing between the transformer and the panel board or load center must be 10 feet. However, in another case, if the 10-foot rule is not applicable or enforceable due to local codes or specific circumstances, you must consider the other clearance requirements. For example, if the transformer requires 4 feet of clearance in the front and the panel requires 30 inches in the front, the 4-foot clearance would be the governing dimension. Always refer to the latest National Electrical Code, specifically Article 450, and local building codes for the most accurate and up-to-date requirements. The NEC provides detailed regulations on transformer installations, including clearance requirements based on voltage levels and transformer types. Accessibility for maintenance and servicing is a critical consideration. Ensure that the chosen location allows easy access for technicians to perform routine maintenance, inspections, and repairs on both the transformer and the panel board. This includes ensuring that there is sufficient space to maneuver tools and equipment. Providing adequate ventilation around the transformer and panel board is essential to prevent overheating. Transformers generate heat during operation, and insufficient ventilation can lead to reduced efficiency and potential equipment failure. Similarly, panel boards require ventilation to prevent the buildup of heat from the enclosed electrical components. Consider the ambient temperature of the environment in which the transformer and panel board will be installed. High ambient temperatures can exacerbate heat-related issues and may require additional ventilation measures. When determining the minimum spacing, consider the type of transformer being installed. Dry-type transformers, for instance, may have different clearance requirements compared to liquid-filled transformers. Always consult the manufacturer's specifications for the specific transformer model to ensure compliance. Take into account the voltage levels of the electrical system. Higher voltage systems may necessitate greater clearances to ensure safety and prevent electrical hazards. Consult the NEC for specific clearance requirements based on voltage levels. Consider any potential obstructions or obstacles that may impede access or ventilation. Ensure that the chosen location is free from obstructions such as pipes, ducts, or structural elements that could compromise the required clearances. Plan for future expansion or modifications to the electrical system. Ensure that the chosen location allows for future upgrades or additions without compromising safety or code compliance. Document all spacing and clearance measurements as part of the installation records. This documentation can be valuable for future reference and for demonstrating compliance during inspections. Regularly inspect the installation to ensure that clearances are maintained and that no obstructions have been introduced over time. This helps to identify and address any potential issues before they become hazardous. By carefully considering these minimum spacing requirements and additional factors, you can ensure a safe, compliant, and efficient electrical installation for the transformer and panel board. It's always recommended to consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer to ensure that all requirements are met and that the installation is in accordance with the latest codes and standards. In addition, always verify the compliance with local codes, as it can differ from state to state, or even city to city. Ignoring these clearances can lead to dangerous situations, including but not limited to electrical fires, difficulty performing maintenance, code violations, voiding of insurance coverage, and increased risk of electrical shock or arc flash. Always consult the manufacturer's datasheets for equipment-specific clearance. Also, consider the equipment's rating and type. NEC Table 110.26. A1 provides working space requirements. The minimum distances depend on the voltage to ground as well as the condition. The condition is determined by what is across from the equipment. In condition 1, there is exposed live parts on one side and no grounded parts on the other. The minimum is 3 feet for 0 to 150 volts to ground, 3 feet for 151 to 600 volts to ground, 3.5 feet for 601 to 2500 volts to ground, 4 feet for 2501 to 9000 volts to ground, 5 feet for 9001 to 25,000 volts to ground, 6 feet for 25,001 to 75,000 volts to ground. Condition 2 is if there are exposed live parts on one side and grounded parts on the other side. The minimum is 3 feet for 0 to 150 volts to ground, 3.5 feet for 151 to 600 volts to ground, 4 feet for 601 to 2500 volts to ground, 4.5 feet for 2501 to 9000 volts to ground, 6 feet for 9001 to 25,000 volts to ground, 8 feet for 25,001 to 75,000 volts to ground. Condition 3 is if there are exposed live parts on both sides of the equipment. The minimum is 3.5 feet for 0 to 150 volts to ground, 4 feet for 151 to 600 volts to ground, 4.5 feet for 601 to 2500 volts to ground, 5 feet for 2501 to 9000 volts to ground, 6 feet for 9001 to 25,000 volts to ground, 8 feet for 25,001 to 75,000 volts to ground. The working space must not be less than 30 inches wide in front of the electrical equipment. It is based on the width of the equipment. The working space must be clear and extend from the floor or platform to a height of 6.5 feet of the height of the equipment. The entrance to the working space must have adequate access and egress. For equipment rated 1200 amps or more and containing overcurrent devices, there shall be one entrance not less than 24 inches wide and 6.5 feet high at each end of the working space. NEC Section 110.34. Covers working space and guarding for equipment of over 600 volts, nominal. The minimum depth of the working space in front of electric equipment must not be less than what is specified in NEC Table 110.34, unless otherwise required or permitted elsewhere in the NEC. Condition 1 is if there are exposed live parts on one side and no grounded parts on the other. The minimum is 4 feet for 601 to 2500 volts, 5 feet for 2501 to 9000 volts, 6 feet for 9001 to 25,000 volts, 8 feet for 25,001 to 75,000 volts, 10 feet for 75,001 to 150,000 volts. Condition 2 is if there are exposed live parts on one side and grounded parts on the other side. The minimum is 5 feet for 601 to 2500 volts, 6 feet for 2501 to 9000 volts, 8 feet for 9001 to 25,000 volts, 9 feet for 25,001 to 75,000 volts, 10 feet for 75,001 to 150,000 volts. Condition 3 is if there are exposed live parts on both sides of the equipment. The minimum is 6 feet for 601 to 2500 volts, 8 feet for 2501 to 9000 volts, 9 feet for 9001 to 25,000 volts, 10 feet for 25,001 to 75,000 volts, 12 feet for 75,001 to 150,000 volts. The minimum width of the working space in front of the electrical equipment must be 3 feet. The working space must be clear and extend from the floor or platform to a height of 6.5 feet to the height of the equipment. Always verify local codes, as some municipalities amend or change the NEC requirements. For example, some municipalities may require additional working space or clearance around electrical equipment. Failure to comply with these local codes can result in fines or other penalties. Always obtain the necessary permits and inspections for electrical installations. This helps to ensure that the work is performed in accordance with applicable codes and standards. Consult with the local electrical inspector to clarify any questions or concerns regarding spacing requirements. The electrical inspector can provide valuable guidance and ensure that the installation meets all applicable requirements. Perform a thorough risk assessment to identify potential hazards associated with the installation. This can help to identify any additional safety measures that may be necessary. Ensure that all personnel working on or near electrical equipment are properly trained and qualified. This helps to minimize the risk of accidents and injuries. Use appropriate personal protective equipment or PPE, such as gloves, safety glasses, and arc-rated clothing when working on or near electrical equipment. This helps to protect against electrical hazards. Regularly inspect and maintain electrical equipment to ensure that it is in safe working condition. This includes checking for loose connections, damaged insulation, and other potential problems. Keep the area around electrical equipment clean and free from obstructions. This helps to prevent accidents and ensure that equipment can be accessed easily for maintenance and repairs. Implement lockout/tagout procedures to energize electrical equipment before performing maintenance or repairs. This helps to prevent accidental energization and injury. Use ground fault circuit interrupters or GFCIs in areas where there is a risk of electrical shock. This helps to protect against electrical hazards. Install surge protection devices or SPD to protect electrical equipment from voltage surges. This helps to prevent damage to equipment and reduces the risk of fire. Use arc flash hazard analysis to determine the potential arc flash hazard levels and to select appropriate PPE. This helps to protect against arc flash injuries. Follow all applicable safety procedures when working on or near electrical equipment. This helps to minimize the risk of accidents and injuries. Ensure that the electrical installation is properly grounded. This helps to prevent electrical shock and reduces the risk of fire. Use only approved electrical equipment and materials. This helps to ensure that the equipment is safe and reliable. Follow all manufacturers' instructions for installation and operation of electrical equipment. This helps to ensure that the equipment is installed correctly and operates safely. Keep accurate records of all electrical work performed. This helps to track maintenance and repairs and provides a record of compliance with applicable codes and standards. Regularly review and update electrical safety procedures to reflect changes in codes, standards, and best practices. This helps to ensure that the procedures are up to date and effective. By following these additional considerations, you can further enhance the safety, compliance, and efficiency of the electrical installation for the transformer and panel board. Always prioritize safety and consult with qualified professionals to ensure that all requirements are met. Keep in mind that a transformer also generates heat, so clearance for cooling purposes is also paramount to adhere to. Airflow is absolutely critical for ensuring the longevity of a transformer. Do not install it in a closet with poor ventilation, for example. The heat generated will eventually cause the transformer to prematurely fail. Overheating can also cause fires. Also, the location should be free from water. A transformer submerged in water can be extremely dangerous. If the transformer is located outdoors, it should be rated for outdoor use and be protected from flooding and snow. Rodents and other animals may be attracted to the transformer because of the warmth. Ensure that measures are taken to prevent this, such as sealing any opening. The area around the transformer should be well lit so that any potential hazards can be easily identified. The area should also be free from tripping hazards. Warning signs should be posted to alert people to the presence of the transformer and the potential hazards. Regular inspections should be conducted to ensure that the transformer is in good working order and that there are no potential hazards. The inspection should be documented. Any problems that are found should be corrected immediately. If the transformer is located in a public area, it should be protected from vandalism. This can be done by enclosing the transformer in a fence or other barrier. If the transformer is located in an area where there is a risk of explosion, it should be explosion-proof. Transformers can also produce noise. If the transformer is located in a residential area, measures should be taken to reduce the noise level. If you are unsure about any aspect of transformer safety, you should consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer. They will be able to provide you with specific guidance based on your situation. Be sure to have available the make and model of the transformer and the panel being installed so that the electrician can find the data sheets.